Hey everybody, so now we're going to talk about Deloitte and CCI. Those are companies that prepare applications for clients, and Deloitte charged $350,000 to do the application for River Green. So, yeah, let's explain how CCI got bought by Deloitte.
Yeah, the original application was started with CCI, Cannabis Compliance, and at that time they were like 70% of the applications were done by CCI. So they were the most credible consulting company in the industry.
So, they would prepare your application and send it to Health Canada?
They would help the RPIC and yes, exactly. And that being said, they follow the same protocols as Health Canada. So the way that Health Canada works is whenever they have questions, when you're doing an application, if they want to talk to River Green directly, they reach out to one person, and that one person is the responsible person in charge. That's it. They don't they don't go through all the other individuals that have CTLS clearances and whatnot. They don't. They deal with one, and then it's up to me as the RPIC to go to each department, retrieve the information they want, and send it back to them.
Oh,
So
okay.
they deal with just one individual. Uh, Deloitte and CCI, or CCI at that time, um, follow the same thing. So whoever was the RPIC had to sign the service agreement with them. They would deal with the RPIC, and um, I would have
Yeah.
to do the same thing. I would have to go and ask head of security, quality assurance officer, just anybody that pertained to that question. I would have to go and retrieve it and then send it back to CCI.
Okay, so what we're talking about then is really the entire evidence package, the full application.
Through the entire process. This is how it worked. So I mean,
Okay.
it was a lot of running around over and above building the facility and all the hydroponic systems and whatnot. That was a real big time waster for me
Yeah,
like
but
during the workday. I would say 40% of my workday was spent retrieving information and sending it back to either CCI or Health Canada. Sometimes Health Canada would reach out to me directly. Sometimes they would reach out to Deloitte, and Deloitte would reach out to me.
okay, so
So
CCI was the original company that
yeah,
was going to do your application.
yeah,
Then they got purchased by Deloitte. Now, everyone needs to understand Deloitte is a huge company. In Canada alone, they do $6 billion worth of business a year, and they're also international. So this is a multi billion-dollar company. How much did they charge you guys for your application?
it was.
It's 350,000, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was around there. It
Yeah.
might even be more. But I mean, the numbers I tried to keep on top of it, but I mean that wasn't my
Yeah.
section. I wasn't.
So we got to introduce a couple people. We got to talk about Jeff Burrell and the position he had, and then how he. So the other thing everyone needs to know is that River Green was Brad's company, and then Sophia's Garden Artisan was the company they created originally to partner with River Green. But when Brad saw the contract and saw he was going to be an RPIC again, he turned it down. So Deloitte charged River Green 350 grand, and then Jeff Burrell was hired. Was he the CEO or president?
He was the CEO of River Green Thunder Bay Inc. And
How did he get caught double dipping?
well, about halfway through the process of our application, the representative for CCI.
It was the same lady, right?
It
That
was
worked. Yeah.
yeah.
We'll call her Mary. We don't need to. She doesn't need to be brought into this. She was kind enough to text us this information. So she was the officer. We'll call her Mary. She was with CCI. Then she got bought up, and now she was with Deloitte. I remember when she told me what was going on. Is that Sophia's Garden was trying to get work done on River Green's bill,
Yeah, no,
and then when we pulled up the company information for Sophia's Garden, Jeff Burrell's name was right there on the board, which violated his contract. It was corporate espionage.
so she called up me and we were discussing. Oh God, I can't even remember.
Oh
It
yeah,
was
the
like a day
who
to day
knows?
thing.
Yeah.
But at the end of the conversation, she how CCI Deloitte worked, I was the one who had to sign the service agreement because I was the RPIC. So again, they reach out to me and I would retrieve the information. But after a conversation with her that had nothing to do with Sophia's Garden, she actually had a side note, and she asked me like if I was aware that Jeff Burrell was
Getting work done.
getting work and asking questions in regards to Sophia's Garden on River Green's account. Now, when you're doing CCI or doing with a consultant company, it's like anything else. You throw your 50K in, and that gives you a certain amount of
It's
questions.
like a lawyer.
Yeah, it's
like a
kind of
lawyer.
like a lawyer. Yeah. And so he was eating up our time and taking, like without us knowing. Like I had no idea.
Well, that's why you had me pull the corporate information for Sophia's
Yeah.
Garden. And I'll add it here because we did find out he was on both boards, which violated his contract.
Well, it's not only violating his contract, it was
Theft?
well,
Fraud. What do you want to call it?
You can't represent yourself for both companies when you're flipping the bill on one. Anyways, what it came down to was I approached. There was 3 directors at that point. It was Jeff, myself, and Jim Peterson. And I went and spoke with Jim, and I said, well, like I don't know how much money was spent on Sophia's Garden. And we discussed it, and it was time that we fired him.
Yep.
And I believe it was Jim that took front on that because there was a buyout and all sorts of things that I wasn't aware of because I was very busy dealing with the application.
Oh, this is where he stole it from Deloitte.
What's that?
Well, I want to tell this part of the story.
Okay.
Well, I couldn't believe it. So when Brad found out Jeff was double dipping and violating his contract, that's when we pulled up the corporate information for Sophia's Garden, and his name was there. Now,
As the CEO.
yeah, right, of both companies. So then what he did was, as soon as he was fired, he ran to Toronto and he demanded from Deloitte the entire application for River Green, and they gave it to him. I mean, you can explain what was in the thing, but handing that over without getting Brad's permission as the RPIC and not formally informing him, it was Mary, the officer, who just said, oh, by the way, did you know the entire application got picked up by Jeff Burrell and then returned 3 days later? No, we did not know. So at that point, I remember you reached out to the head of legal at Deloitte to try and get it figured out. And, well, I'll let you tell that's all you.
Well, I mean, it was a lot of ass grabbing at that point. Like they didn't want to even recognize that I was the responsible person in charge for River Green Thunder Bay Inc. Even though it's all over.
You're on the board everywhere.
Yeah, and
you signed the contract for the $350K.
Yeah, I was on the hook for everything for River Green Thunder Bay Inc. At the end of the day, they made me jump through so many hoops just to prove that I was Brad Olson, responsible person in charge. I gave them all the information they required, right from everything: passports, driver's license, social insurance number.
That proved you were on the board.
I proved that I am who I am, and that wasn't good enough. And all I was asking them was, I want to see the service agreement, because I mean it's buried in the files at the 600 Montreal Street, but they have a copy of it. And I said, who signed the service agreement? And this is to Arash, head of legal. And I said, who signed this service agreement, and who gave you authority to hand our evidence package, which is all of our details, like right from our
cameras,
CTLS clearances,
all of it.
Something happened.
No, it's all right.
The CTLS clearances, fingerprints, just absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I was miffed. But then I realized that he he has all of our camera information, our serial numbers, our service agreements with all of the outside sales for every camera, door strike, card lock, everything. And there's only two companies or two people that have that in one spot because I didn't know them. It wasn't my job to know them. Deloitte Canada and CCI and Health Canada. That's the only two places that you could have got all that information.
Yeah.
And so I asked them, like, who signed a service agreement? Because I would have been the one that would have had the authority to have that released to us. But I didn't want that. I don't want the responsibility of that. Like, that's none of my business. There's protocols in place for that. Okay?
Of course. Well, I mean, you got to keep in mind that Brad signed the contract with Deloitte. He was the point of contact. So to deny him information or anything was inappropriate, illegal. I don't know what you want to call it, but it was wrong.
Yeah.
So when they took that entire box of documents, Jeff Burrell, 3 days later, he returned it. And then, oh, look at that. All of a sudden, Sophia's Gardens application gets approved in record time. It's got every bit of information from River Green, and River Green never sold anything to Sophia's Garden.
Yeah, no. At
terrible.
that point, it was under the preservation and protection order. So River Green could not transfer, use, sell anything.
Well, remember though, so when
without a judge's approval.
Right. So when the business collapsed, it all dissolved into lawsuits.
Yeah.
The first thing the judge did was put a Superior Court preservation and protection order stating the assets could not be used for business operations and the building could not be transferred or sold. So we told Health Canada that. 5 of our lawyers informed Sonia Douglas, and she said thank you very much and issued their license anyway. So the same men who diverted the $4 million crop to the black market, the only crop River Green had, got an illegal $500 million cultivation license that violated a Superior Court order. Yeah. That's why Health Canada is on the hook for the damages. And they were informed. So really at this point, you know, the only thing anyone's ever asked for in this whole thing is an investigation. That's what needs to happen. Sorry guys, I was gardening earlier. Getting a little dirty. But I mean, really, it just needs an investigation. So now, oh, the other thing, the Can Delta walkthrough. Okay, really quick.
That's another.
That's the next video. That'll be the next one, actually. We'll talk about Can Delta. Okay, hang tight. We'll do another one.